Hello, lovely people, and welcome to Philanthropic February, Day 8. I hope you enjoyed yesterday's video with the little toadstool earrings that I made. If you didn't see it, do go back to yesterday's video, Philanthropic February, Day 7, because I'm hosting a giveaway. So I just decided on the spur of the moment that as I was making those earrings, they would be a perfect little giveaway gift to one of you, my lovely viewers. And you just need to make sure you follow the instructions that I talk about in that video. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Let me know which of the colours of the mushrooms you like the best, in case I make a pair of earrings for you. I'm looking forward to that. I didn't at the time think of the fact that I should probably impose a deadline for that. So I will probably do the draw on the 21st of February. And if you're watching this in another year, 2026. So you've got almost 2 weeks to catch up with my daily videos and watch Day 7 as a priority. By the way, I didn't say, I'm Nicola, this is Stitches and Slapdashery, and I am having a month where I am making for others, creating gifts for people, doing nice things for people, random acts of kindness, and just generally trying to make the world a better place. Because the way the world is now, we all need something that brings us joy and a bit of peace in our hearts. And talking of hearts, that was a good segue, wasn't it? On the couch last night, I crocheted a bunch more of my little hearts. And I did do a tutorial for this crochet heart. That was, I think, my Philanthropic February intro video, which I published on January 31st. And they are really, really easy. So I had double-stranded some yarn to make these. Rather pretty ones. And then I moved on to using the Hobie Universe Christmas, which has some sparkle in it. I don't know if you can see that. Hopefully you can see that. It has a green sparkle in it. And so I made 15 of them while I was watching the latest episode of Shetland last night on BritBox. So I will be taking those out and about with me. I take them to work. Over the last couple of days at work, I've been giving out these little hearts, mostly to kids, but also a couple of grown-ups, because I felt like they needed a little bit of an uplift. So I'm really looking forward to giving out those too. I have a hopefully fun project to do today. It's not something I've done before. Well, the actual basic zipper pouch is going to be something I've done before. It's a continuous zipper pouch where you cut your fabric twice as wide as the front of the pouch, so it does the whole piece in one. You put one side of the zipper across the top, and when you fold it and put the puller on, you have a really nice bag. And because I have a lot of this zipper by the meter or zipper by the yard, I can just pull it in half, use one side of it, and then use the other side in another bag. The issue with buying, say, a number 3 zipper with a puller already on it is that when you pull it in half, you feel like you're wasting the second half because you only get one pull with a standard zipper. Whereas this, I have a whole ton of extra pulls in black and silver to go with my black and silver tape. I also have some of the zipper with the rainbow teeth on a black tape, but that's not really appropriate for what I want to make today. So I'm going to change the camera to the overhead position and show you what I've cut and got ready for sewing. In one way, I'd have liked to have batch sewed a bunch of pouches today because I am still hoping to get 28 items made, an average of 1 per day, for donating to the silent auction for the festival in September. but I don't know how this is going to work out, and it's kind of a specialist one. It might be a one-off. I have this lovely white thread. It's actually not quite pure white. It's in the Gutermann all-purpose. Number 1 is white. I think 1 is white and 2 is black. Anyway, this one is 21 and it's a lovely ivory colour. So I have my zipper ready. I've cut the zipper to 18 inches so it'll overlap slightly, overflow. Got my black pull. I do have some silver pulls, but I'm sticking with black to keep it low key today. What did I just knock on the floor? Oh, my bobbin. Oh, I have to fill my bobbin yet. I've cut this nice neat piece of denim from a pair of jeans. It is 16 inches by 8. I didn't allow extra for seam allowances. I just stuck with this 16 by 8 and I figured it'll work itself out. And it will work out to be a squarish pouch, although I will probably box the bottom slightly, so the height will be a bit less than that. And then I have this lace, and somebody gave this to me. I think it might be my friend Annette when she gave me a big bag of fabric last year. Isn't it gorgeous? It's a piece of lace that's all hearts. So my thought was I could apply it to the front of the denim and somehow stitch it on. And I thought that might be a little tricky, and also my machine needle might start catching on all the bits that are sticking out. So then what I did is cut a piece of organza, white organza, from an old Wool Warehouse organza bag. Don't know if you've ever ordered from Wool Warehouse, but they do love to send their things out in organza bags. You can ask for them not to do that, but I always take the bag because I love them. They're great for storing large amounts of yarn in. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to just throw a few pins in and probably do some free motion quilting on it. I think that's the plan. I was not sure whether to use the ivory thread or go with a colour, but I want something that's not going to compete too much with the hearts. I've cut the organza a bit bigger. I don't know how much shrinkage, if any, I will get with this machine quilting. So I wanted to be a little bit careful about that. Been a long time since I did any free motion quilting. I'm not particularly confident with it. But if this experiment goes horribly wrong, I'll have to think about something else to do with this lovely lace. It's a gorgeous sunny day today. Mr. Stitches and I will have to get out for a walk this afternoon while it's still daylight, because it would just seem such a waste if we did not. We also had a good dump of rain overnight too. When I looked out this morning, my deck was covered in puddles. Even though it's a covered deck, it must have been blowing in from the usual way that the rain and the wind comes. So that's good. Like the perfect morning. Having the organza there will mean that it gives a nice smooth surface for the darning foot to glide over. And it's pretty subtle. It's not going to obscure the lace, which is nice. I'm going to load up a bobbin, drop my feed dogs, have a little doodle with thread. I think that's probably enough pins. Wish me luck. I think I'm ready. threads are loaded up. I have changed out the needle for a sharp 70, so a size thinner from the vinyl, or the ones I was using for the vinyl totes. And I've dropped my feed dogs. I have my extension, my table extension here, so that it's not like hanging off the edge. And I think I'm ready to start. Question is, where am I going to start? Maybe I will go here. So all of the best machine embroiderers always seem to pull the thread to the top when they start. So I will do that. Okay, so I've pulled my thread to the top of the work. I'm right in the corner. My darning foot is on there and it's ready to go. So, of course, I've used pins, the only pins I have that have the white heads on them, so I'm going to have to be really careful not to sew over them. I've also reduced my stitch length to 0, so I mean the feed dogs are dropped anyway, so that shouldn't matter, because all of the length of the stitch is going to be controlled by me. Get my pin cushion ready. Well, you'd have a pretty hard time seeing the stitches in there, but this is what it looks like on the back. I left quite a big gap there. My plan was, or my aim was, to overlap a bit more like these ones here. You can see, probably see from the texture, this is better than this. But at least it's all held down, and now I'm just going to trim all of those hanging bits to a perfect rectangle. I think I've lost about 1/4 of an inch in the trimming. So if you want a specific finished size, you do need to allow not only for seam allowances, but also a bit of shrinkage when you're quilting. I've raised my feet, I've raised my feed dogs again. I have this switch at the back here that, can you see that? Or is it hidden? You just about see that right there, which raises and lowers the feed dogs. So now I'm back to regular sewing, and I can put my stitch length back to 2.2, and I'm going to need to take that foot off, aren't I? So this is what a darning foot looks like. All right, the light is not very good over here. My overhead is not overhead. Just dropped it on the floor. I have found this fabric in the stash that is a white on white print. It's very subtle, and I think it'll work great. So now I have to remember how to do this bag. It's been a long time since I've done this. I'm going to split my zipper in half, save that for another bag, and then I need to sew it right sides together with my outer. I'll do that next. And I'm going to clip it. So where are my clips? So the nice thing about deciding to use my basic foot is it's easy to switch out for the zipper foot. Like so. I'm going to sew the one side of the zipper on first, and then I'll do the lining side. That way I can keep control a bit better. So what I do the first pass is I do a smaller seam allowance. So my zipper foot is kind of hanging off the edge here. When I go and do the lining side of it, I'll do the full width of the zipper foot as my seam allowance. I just managed to unthread my needle. So because this thin fabric is more liable to stretch, I'm going to flip this over and sew it from this side. I should probably have put the clips the other way around. Never mind. I can't really iron this organza because it will melt. So I'm just going to finger press and clip for the top stitching part and hope for the best. It's pretty thick actually, but I think it'll be all right. It's a good idea to have some overlap and have some of the zipper hanging off the ends, because when you go to put the puller on, sometimes I want to trim a few teeth off, or sometimes you just make a bit of a mess of it and the zipper teeth at the very end get a little bit wonky, and then you need to trim a bit and try again. So it's a good idea to have some play trim. Now what I'm going to need to do is I need to flip it around so that my needle is going into the other side of the zipper foot, and then get a nice long stitch length. Now this is where the organza is really going to be helpful, because if I had been top stitching just that lace, I'd have been really concerned about catching those loops in my zipper foot. So it can't happen because the organza is there. Okay, I think what I do next is I flip up the lining and then I fold it this way. Oh, no, I know what I do. I have to fold it around so that the ends of my zipper, oh, that really was long. I guess because I trimmed the fabric back, I ended up with more spare than I thought. So you fold it in half and then you put your zipper pull on. So I'm just going to grab that. I think I'm going to trim some of that off because I do not need that much zipper. And I'm also going to trim off a little bit of the teeth on the right hand side only. So you put the bulb shaped side of the zipper pull onto the left hand side, and then the right hand side in there. Darn, I do have a zipper jig that my son 3D printed for me, but I'm trying to do this so that you can see what I'm doing. So this is the hard way to do it. That side's on. And then you kind of grip that. There we go. Now you see how I have that really badly lined up. So I'm going to trim more off that. Like so. And then put the right side in. And the ideal thing is if you can grip both sides with one thumb and finger and then pull. Now I've got it too high on that side. I'm going to have to fiddle a bit with it again. It's not perfect, but if I have to trim it to get it to line up well, I will. So you see how this zipper is going to look when it's done up. One half of the zipper, and there's no need for a tab or anything at this end because it's a curve, and the only part of the zipper that's in the seam is this end. So once you've done that, which took far longer than it should have done, open it right out. I'm going to move the phone back again so that you can see everything. Open it all out so that it's inside out and you can see what you're doing. So then you push the teeth of the zipper towards the lining. Make sure your outer edges are matching. And then clip everything along here and on here. When I'm sewing, I'll be leaving a small turning gap on my side seam. Oh, I think I'm going to start down here and I'm just going to sew towards this because then I'm not fighting against the direction of the fabric. I will use the hump jumper to get over there. Hopefully no issues. 1 centimetre or 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. I'm going to put this, the thicker side of my hump jumper behind here. Hope it works because this is a very lumpy. I'm going to have a quick peek at the injunction here because I am not sure if I did it well or not. I may have to try again. Yes, it's a good idea to leave your zipper open. If you're using a number 3 zipper, you definitely need to leave it half open before you do this step. The number 5 zipper opens fine from the underneath, even if you forget. I wasn't happy with how this looked. I had a little peak on the right side and the bulk of the seam was messy, so I unpicked over the zipper part here, and then I sewed it from the other direction to smooth things out. It looks terrible on this side, but I'm pretty sure it'll look fine on the outside. Trim the excess zipper off now. Now I was going to do some very minimalistic boxed bottoms, so I just need a ruler. Yeah, I'm going to do a 3/4 of an inch or a 19 mil boxy bottom from the seam line and the fold, and on this side from the seam lines. Always looks better from the outside if you can get your seams to match. Because of the thickness of the fabric, I sewed across and then sewed back across. I reversed across. My lining corners are boxed as well, and now it's time for the reveal. I left a very small hole for turning because I almost forgot to leave it at all. Nearly there. I think I'm going to need my pointy tool for this. Pokey tool, pointy tool, same thing. I didn't trim off the triangles of the corners. They're so small, I don't think it's going to be an issue. One more thing to do. And we have a mess again. You should see the state of my cutting mat. It is covered in cut up pair of jeans, the rest of the lace fabric, organza, and shreds of everything. All right, let's just get this gap sewn up. Well, that was an interesting experiment. I think it turned out really pretty. Denim with lace and organza with a silver zipper, which looks fine. It is a little bulky just here, but it's okay. And I love the fabric that made. And I really do like this. This was something I first learned about this style of bag from, I think it was Lorrie Nunemaker on YouTube. She hasn't posted to her channel in a really long time. I just went through all my subscriptions on YouTube the other night, and I unsubscribed from a lot of things that I haven't been watching or who haven't posted in a really long time. And I think it's years since she posted anything new. But that tutorial for this continuous zipper pouch, some people call it a half zipper pouch. It's a really nice way of putting a zipper in. It's very easy, and you only have to worry about it looking good on the one end. So that's good. For some reason, it's looking a little wider on that end than that end. I'm not going to worry about that. Well, I think it's probably lunchtime now. Mr. Stitches just poked his head in. He's been doing a little bit of work in his home office this morning. So I think it's time to have some lunch and hopefully get out for some fresh air and some sunshine. And if I get some footage of our walk, if maybe instead of just walking around the neighborhood, I can get him to come to somewhere a bit more scenic, maybe down by the lake, and I can get a bit of footage of that, and I'll put it in tomorrow's video for you. So thanks again for watching. Do let me know in the comments if you are joining in with Philanthropic February. Also, remember to go to day 7's video and enter the giveaway. It's easy to enter. Just need to tell me what color mushrooms you'd like on your earrings, as well as all those other lovely things like liking and subscribing, of course. And I'll be doing a draw probably on the 21st. So I'm looking forward to seeing lots of entries. See you soon. Bye for now.